because I am going to need at least one more coat of nail polish, quite possibly two. So it'll be at least one more video, maybe two. It depends on if I decide to put sparkle nail polish over top once I have a sufficient amount of base coats, or not base coats, but main color coats, because I'm going to need at least one more main color coat, so I may do 2 more videos, and I might have them shorter, like right around the same length as the previous one, just so that I have time to put on a coat of nail polish in between. So the next one, Snopes one, is still under the autos business section, and it's called Nobody's Fuel. And the claim is that a miraculous car that gets 200 miles to a gallon is sold by mistake and then reclaimed by the factory and never seen again. And this story is false, according to the Snopes website. And the example is, this one was collected via email in 1999, and it says, a retiring General Motors employee, after many years of service, receives a car as a retirement gift, as well as a nice pension, etc. So he is given permission to select a car from the lot there at the factory. He selects a Chevrolet Caprice, a big luxury car. After receiving it, he is satisfied by his choice. After all, who wouldn't enjoy driving around in a roomy, comfortable car? After driving it for a while, he noticed something quite odd. A car like this usually consumes a substantial amount of fuel, but the gas gauge hardly moves at all. After a few weeks, he gets suspicious. Things like this don't happen. Being the company man he is, he returns it to the factory. Explaining this to the service tech must have caused some strange looks, but they took it in anyway. After he got his car back, he noticed that it got the typical gas mileage of a comparable car. Could his car have had some secret modifications that allowed him to drive for weeks on the same tank of gas? Detroit's automakers have seized bought out patents of items that improve gasoline mileage, like the 100 mile per gallon just gonna take a drink. This was collected via email in 1997. A couple journeys from Western Canada to Detroit to buy a new car and presumably save shipping costs while having a vacation in the States at the same time. Driving back to the prairies, they find to their astonishment that the gas gauge is not moving down to empty, even though they've been driving for hours. After arriving home, some thousands of miles away from Detroit, they have only refilled their tank twice. A few days after returning, the husband looks out at his driveway in the morning to find two mysterious men tinkering with his car. The hood is up. Running out, they race off. He checks under the hood, finds nothing amiss, and concludes it's just vandals or would-be thieves he was fortunate enough to apprehend before any damage was done. But when they drive the car, they find their gas mileage is now normal. Variations of this are: the miraculous car legend ends one of four ways. 1. Mysterious men appear and tinker with the engine, rendering the car no different than any other. 2. The car is reclaimed by the factory. If the owner afterwards gets the same car back, sometimes it's replaced outright with another vehicle. It now gets ordinary gas mileage. 3. No-nonsense business types show up to make a fabulous offer for the car, which is accepted. The owner wakes up one morning to find the car vanished without a trace. Origins. The legend of the miracle high-mileage automobile has been around longer than most of our readers, with a version set in Philadelphia having appeared in a 1948 newspaper. Even at that time, the story proved unverifiable, with the article's writer identifying it as such and passing it along only as an example of a current rumor sweeping through the community. Since that early sighting of more than half a century ago, the legend has gone on to enthrall audience after audience as each couple of years sees it pop up anew. Its origins are as strange as the story itself. Between 1928 and 1935, Charles Nelson Pogue, an inventor from Canada, applied for numerous patents for what he claimed was a new type of carburetor that supposedly completely vaporized gasoline before introducing it to the cylinders. extracting a great deal more energy from the fuel. According to the Pogue patent description, fuel was introduced into the engine through this vaporous dry state rather than in the normal droplet-laden wet state, thus combining more readily with air, making it burn with far greater efficiency. Better combustion, combined with the raising of the engine's operating temperature from 160 degrees Fahrenheit to 180 degrees Fahrenheit, were said to be responsible for vastly improved fuel economy. So much for the techno talk. The Pogue carburetor was touted as getting 200 plus miles to the gallon. Glowing reports about this miracle of ingenuities making an 18,000 or 1,879-mile trip of 14.5 gallons appeared in the May issue of Canadian Automotive Trade magazine in 1936. Reports which Pogue later denied. I'm sorry, I know I'm butchering his name, but I'm not sure how to pronounce it. A manager of a Winnipeg auto dealership claimed that he had driven a Pogue-equipped car 217 miles on a gallon of gasoline. A different dealer principal claimed to have driven 26 miles on a pint of fuel. The story snowballed onwards from those breathless testimonials as one rumor quickly followed on the heels of another. Thieves were reputed to have broken into Pogue's shop and made up with three of his carburetors. There were talk of armed guards and wolfhounds guarding the shop and the now famous inventor. Wealthy backers from Winnipeg or Toronto, depending on who you've heard the story from, were rumored to be bankrolling Pogue. But the arrangements mysteriously fell through. Ford of Canada was said to have bought the invention outright. All in all, it was a very exciting time. Alas, one can get by on mere smoke and mirrors for only so long. Those with sense enough not to be deafened by the hyperbole were not long kept at bay with tales of wolfhounds, thieves, and mysterious briefcase-toting money men. They wanted to see the carburetor. That, of course, was never permitted. No one reputable was allowed to see the mechanical miracle in action, let alone have a chance to measure its results. After the initial excitement over Pogue's 1936 announcement had faded, more serious types began to openly doubt that the carburetor would work as described. In the December 1936 issue of which fails to show any features hitherto unknown in carburetor practice, and absolutely gives no warrant for crediting the remarkable results claimed. Other journalists were beginning to voice similar opinions. In response to calls to put up or shut up, Poco's miracle carburetor was heard of no more. Faced with the choice of believing someone had made claims to his invention, couldn't later live up to, or that a moneyed bad guy brought up a technology to forever keep it off the market, at least some choose to believe the suppression theory that the carburetor never made it to the public, they said, was proof enough of its existence. Those 1930s news stories. Breathlessly trumpeting Pogue's miracle of technology form the basis of the economical carburetor legend now before us. As gas prices fluctuate, our dependence on fossil fuels is driven home time and time again. Who wouldn't long for a miracle of engineering that would free us from the tyranny of the gas pump, and thus the groundwork for belief is laid. As sometimes happens in the world of urban legends, desire for something to be true transforms a rumor into certainty that this very thing is fact. Over the years, our legend about a 200-mile-per-gallon car has bobbed to the surface in community after community, being debunked in numerous respective publications, and bobbed right back up into the wake of these debunkings. The need to believe in this wondrous technology and the evil car manufacturers who are deliberately withholding it from the market appears too strong to combat. A bit of rational thought should be all that's needed to lay this legend to rest. Why would the car manufacturers at all care about keeping such a technological advance away from consumers? Unlike the petroleum companies, they have no vested interest in how much fuel a car uses. An automaker's self-interest is best served by getting the newest irresistible technology to the consumer before his competitors do. If any one of them possessed the secret of the 200-mile-per-gallon car, he'd have rushed it into production, hoping to beat his competitors to the punch. Those who are tempted to believe the evil government is responsible for keeping this miracle out of our hands should reflect was around 1920, shortly after he had married, when the old man originally purchased the light bulb from a small store in town. It appeared to be a normal light bulb. However, after 60 years, it was still going strong. So he decided to write to the manufacturers and tell them of this remarkable phenomenon. By return, a reply came from the company indicating they were very interested in the bulb and would like to send someone to see it. Eventually, one of the directors of the firm called and, instead of just showing interest, offered to buy for 1,000 British pounds. The old man, of course, refused, as the light bulb had given him good service. However, his curiosity was certainly aroused. Why so much money for his light bulb? The director could provide no plausible explanation as to why they were willing to offer so much for the bulb. So the old man decided to explore this mystery further. With the help of a solicitor friend, he did a little investigating and discovered that in the 1920s, this particular light bulb manufacturer had bought and tested the patent for an everlasting bulb. Only a few of these bulbs were made, and the company, finding the invention worked, destroyed the bulbs and suppressed the idea. After all, it would have put them out of business. Unknown to the company, one of the lights had accidentally become mixed up with a batch of ordinary bulbs, and this was the light bulb which had lit the old man's kitchen for the past 60 years. Sometimes lore collides with reality. A long-lived light bulb has been burning since 1901 and currently lights a fire station in Livermore, California. Barbara Gasoline Allied Mickelson. Origins. This legend about the need to suppress the steam-driven carburetor that can produce 20 miles per gallon to protect the oil industry. This is in an episode of the TV series Spoils of Babylon, The Foundling, The War Within. Original air date 9 January 2014. Okay guys, so since that one was really long and my voice is cracking a little bit, so I'm gonna have to try to drink some water, see if I can kind of calm down my throat. I'm going to cut this video off here and I will be back shortly.